Rocky fam, what is up, and welcome to Food Plot Chronicles number 5. Food Plot Chronicles number 5. Number 5, staying alive. Speaking of staying alive, good news is the beans are alive. They're alive, they're getting bigger, kinda, but the deer are eating them as soon as they pop up. That fence we built last week, yeah, it's not really working. Ow! It feels like it's working to me. I don't know if the deer are going over it. I don't know if they're going under it. I don't know if they're going through it. But what does seem to be helping a little bit is the caution tape little tassels that we've strung across the top. Now this week on Food Plot Chronicles, we're gonna be building another fence. It's like if we haven't failed enough, why don't we just kick ourselves right in the shorts again? As you guys know, we got another bean field. That bean field's getting eaten by the deer. So we're gonna wrap that bad boy in an electric fence and we're gonna set that thing on fire. Honestly, this field I feel like has a better chance of working because the field is about 3.5 to 4 acres in size, and we're only gonna fence off a little over an acre of it. So the corn and the beans that are outside the fence will allow the deer to still browse on something and hopefully make them feel less compelled to get inside the fence. It's a theory, I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna give it one heck of a try. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, we're trying to make a decision here because we've had this fence up for about 2 weeks now, and you saw us put this fence up on Food Plot Chronicles 4, and it's been a lot of trial and error, quite honestly, because the deer were still getting through it. We've made some improvements and adjustments. The little streamers that we put up are one of the improvements because at night or in the dark, I don't think the deer were seeing the yellow and black wire quite as much. And so I think they were just jumping over it. The point of the two fences is to create a little bit of depth perception that the deer don't like, to make them think that they can't really jump it, if that makes sense. So they normally will come up to this white fence, this white tape, and they're curious, so they'll put their nose on it. If they get shocked, they'll obviously back up, and then the two fences together allow that like depth perception that they don't have or that they don't like, so they don't want to jump it. But this whole left side has kind of gotten eaten. I mean, you could see a little bit of the right side is, you know, the beans are coming up actually fairly well. But this left side, they come out of this bedding area on the left, and they've been just hammering this whole left side of it. It's crazy because the whole outer portion of the fence had beans also that we planted, and you can't even tell that there is or was a bean there ever. So we just came back here to assess this a little bit. We're gonna be putting up another fence today on a different bean plot that gets less pressure, but we came back to assess this because we may have to pull part of this fence down and re-drill in some beans this afternoon. Trouble's been the lack of rain. We just have not had, literally, we have not had any rain in the last week and a half. And in the 15-day forecast, there's not much to speak of either. So I'm gonna try and hurdle this thing and get in here without getting shocked and just check out the field a little bit. Man, these are all beans. It's all beans right there. Definitely more than Dean gave it credit for, I feel like. All right, guys, well, we're gonna try and put up another fence up here. This is the field we've done corn on the upper side, corn and beans on the upper side, and then just predominantly beans down here. And we're gonna fence off the section of beans on this lower side just to protect it. It's in an effort to get everything in bow range of this redneck right here. So you can see the corn row, or the kind of the line of the corn right here, right in front of the redneck. And we're just gonna basically start lining up this fence on the outside, right in front of the redneck, all the way down to the wood line down there. It'll probably be close to an acre that we fence in. The beans are definitely taller up here. It's slightly less pressure for whatever reason up here. That's the mission for today. Get these beans fenced in, get the electric sparking, and hopefully we can preserve what we've worked so hard to plant already. A little discouraged about the corn, although it's growing up better than it ever has, but there's just I don't know, maybe it's the lack of rain that we've had so far, but it just doesn't seem to be taken as well as it maybe should. And we're definitely going to need to figure out the plot screen in front of this redneck, because this, I mean, it literally, to be effective, it's got to be blocked off. Otherwise, getting in and out of here is going to be impossible. But nonetheless, we're going to get the posts out, start digging some holes, and getting this fence erect. This is a lot bigger field, so there's a lot more beans and food in it. So I think these beans got up and going a little bit more, but they're still hammering them. So we invested in another fence. We're putting these streamers up on the inside one because this black and yellow wire, I think, is a little bit tough to see, especially in low light. So it just puts another eye perspective, thing that the deer can see. They maybe not be able to judge the distance, jumping it, and maybe it'll kind of distract them a little bit. But I'm gonna tie on these last ones, and then this is a different setup we have too. This is a bigger battery, 12 volt, and it's a more powerful unit. So I'm anxious to see what the shock difference is, because if it's a lot stronger of a shock, I don't know, it might be worth trying to change that other unit that we have in the other field. So David's gonna demonstrate getting shocked. Honestly, for us, this extra step right here is necessary, but putting the fence up is necessary. These deer pressure the heck out of any food plots in the summertime. There's just so many deer up here, and I feel like these deer just have an extra will. They have an extra edge that if you put up barriers, they face the challenge, and they're gonna say, I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna get in there one way or another. And most of the time they do. They do. I mean, they will sacrifice a shock to blast right through this wire, break it, and then, the fence isn't hot for the rest of the night. They're laughing in here, eating their nutritious beans. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the redneck. This is going to be the view. I mean, this fence is actually pretty big, bigger than I thought. I mean, there's going to be a solid chunk of beans down here. I really think the fence is going to work even better up here because the bale wrap in itself worked last year. I think it's going to be money having the beans on this side of the field because the deer tend to come out on this bottom corner anyway, and their general movement is uphill. We'll have corn on the whole back side for sure, and then this front side right here within bow range didn't grow the best in corn. There's some beans coming up, but they'll get browsed on, but we'll probably plant a big chunk of turnips right here. So we're gonna have 3 different food sources in the same field, and all of them within bow range. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. We gotta pray for rain. That's what we're lacking right now. It's hard to complain about these crazy warm sunny days, but then I'm not complaining, that's for sure. But for the sake of the food plots, we need some more germination, and then it can get as hot as it wants. Bake them, they'll come up like crazy. That's all I know. But I'm shirtless today because it's hot out here. It is hot. This is gonna be awesome. I mean, the cool part is we'll end up making a scrape probably straight across, or we'll have a scrape tree a little bit closer, maybe right on the edge of the corn, and it'll be a great communication point in the middle of this plot for the bucks, especially late October, and it'll be within bow range. Can't beat that. You just can't beat that. It's a lot of work for these deer. It's a lot of work, and we're doing it on a smaller scale, honestly. It is a lot of work, but when you're sitting here in October and November and this is like as close to perfect as it can be, you're like, wow, thank God. Thank God we spent that extra money. Thank God we spent that extra time. Thank God we fenced this thing in, all that stuff. So cool. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. This is a 0.7 joule output unit, and the other one I think is 0.2. I mean, this is 3.5 times roughly the power that the other fence has, and you can feel it. So I finally got the comparison of the two. Thought the other one was going to be enough, but that's a 6-volt battery on a solar charger, and it might just not be enough power by itself. Usually you got to use those kind of fences with a permanent fence. So, you know, maybe if it's in the 30-day window, Tractor Supply will come get store credit. Actually, no, we'll be buying a new unit, but this one's cheaper, so we're making money, baby. Just touch it, you gotta know. It just pulsates, so it only ticks you. Like, it's not gonna hold you there. Ooh, yeah, it definitely gives you a little zing. Shit. But the other one's way less than that. Oh, really? Yeah. That other one's bitch, dude. We have to get a new one. Yeah, so then we gotta take it back soon if we can return it. Why don't we just buy the other one first so we can swap? Switch. Yeah, so you don't have to. Yeah, we can. Ooh. Yeah, baby. It's hot. We gotta put these scarecrows up right here because we got a gap in the fence. Dean and I were like probably like 35 feet short. Oh my gosh, just terrible. Never fails. Always short. We're always winding up short. All right, well, I just sprayed the corn and some more of the beans down up in that upper plot. That was a stressful job because it's tough spraying that corn. You got to have perfect, you know, wheelbase to get in between the rows, and you know, our rows aren't perfect or anything, but it's just the rows are like just too wide to go outside and not wide enough to go in between 2 rows. So it's actually it works if you're outside both rows, but it's literally inches, and you know, I end up running over a couple stalks here and there, and I just don't like that. But I got everything sprayed, and it had to be done. You know, sacrifice a few stalks here and there, but it had to be done. There's so many weeds in there, and eventually that corn's going to stunt out, and then you're not going to get any production out of it. So, and then it's going to be too late to spray once you realize you have no production, and then you can't even put turnips or any other food in there. So I replanted about half of this field, There's really decent beans coming up in the middle. You can honestly see the rows. It's just getting pressure and not enough rain. So kind of experimented here. Planted the outsides of the field again. Drilled stuff in, left the middle part alone. And I broadcasted like another 60 pounds of soybeans. Like, there's seed everywhere in here. And the only reason why I did that is because the drill, you know, the discs in the drill really tear up everything that you had there. So if there's beans there and you're going to replant, some of your beans are going to survive, but most of them are going to get kind of ripped up, shredded up. So I wanted to leave beans that we planted already in here, plant some new ones, and then I just broadcasted a ton of bean seed.
Did you guys see those little poults, those little poult turkey, little baby poulties? Don't worry, little birdies. We're hunters, but we suck at shooting turkeys, so you're gonna have a good time living here. Now that woodchuck, on the other hand, save a bean, shoot a chuck. All right, so this fence that we put up this week's got a little bit more power. Ow! 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 So we're hoping that that gives us a little bit of an advantage and that this fence actually works. Because they keep throwing us pitches and by golly, we swing and miss every time. On a serious note, the beans are coming up, so is the corn. Plot screen's coming up too. So we are still optimistic for the existing food plots that we have for this fall. We need rain so bad. And honestly, I'm not sure when we're gonna get it. Dean did end up re-drilling beans in the field that we were debating on in the beginning of the episode. We sprayed the corn and the beans with the Roundup to ensure weed control. So if we do get a rain in the near future, we should be sitting pretty. Next week on Food Plot Chronicles, we will give you a full update of all of our spring plots, and we are gonna begin to prepare for our fall food plots. This is gonna be really exciting. Thank you all for watching again this week. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section below, and we look forward to seeing you right here next week on Food Plot Chronicles. Peace.